This looks like the way.
Arrgh, a clear path.
And an open door. Let's step through. Hello, we are off the boat.
Welcome, pilots in training. Arrgh, class of 2017. Me be Kraken House Headmaster Jonas Amenhold. And me be privileged to hold the chair of Cephalopod Endoskeleton.
And I'm Flatfish Fish Restories Headmaster O Parrot House. And while I have many duties and teach many classes, I be privileged to present their principal lecturer of Ichthyologos Scarade, our current school headmaster, Ambassador Captain Larry Longshanks of the good Pastafarian ship FPBSS, be called to a far secret meeting and cannot be here to greetin' and instructin' the new class, but assured me of his well wishes to your all.
The FPPSS, what be that?
Our Headmaster Ambassador Captain Larry's ship, formal name. 'Tis the fallen pedunculated barnacle of the Sargasso Sea.
What if we just called it the FPBSS?
Works for me.
Me too.
I'm good.
Well. All right, further, Headmaster Ambassador Captain Larry assures us that this year's mortality rate is bound to be much lower than last year's, now that we've ent instruction in nighttime live cannon fire and eliminated the Piranha River swim competition. Not to fear, however, so that you get your tuition's money worth, we've added new classes in Pastafarian theology to take their place, such as 21st century ontology and gastrology, hydrology, histology, and theodicy of acidic sauces of tomato, epistemiology of noodles 101, and first time ever offering of vocal alignment with augmentation by tensioned nylon strings and Helmholtz resonance.
Well, whatever that sound is impressive.
Professor Flatfish, what is Ichthyologos Scarade?
Ichthyologos
Scarade.
Scarade. The approximate meaning is fish speaking parrotfish.
Seems a bit redundant to me.
Students, we've much to do. We must assign you to your quarters, your houses.
Houses?
So students are assigned to named houses. Each house is presided over by a housemaster, who is a principal instructor for Pastafarian theological specialty, a specialty. Our houses are, as such, puffer fish, squid, kraken, parrot, barnacle, dinghy. And off to the other side, I think on our slides, we have bilgewater and furry ham, so named after an unfortunate lack of refrigeration on a previous voyage. Each house has its own flag and a coat of arms.
Say, isn't kraken a reference to squid, which makes it a redundant reference to squid?
No, not really. A kraken is a giant characterized by great strength, whereas as a squid uses speed and misdirection to catch its prey.
I think I'd like to be staying in Crack House. Is that possible?
Aye, 'tis possible. None of the houses are so full they could not take all of you.
Pufferfish for me. I think they'd be cute.
I will go with speed and misdirection with the redundant squid house.
Alrighty. So it's time to begin your pirate in training names. It is such a nice day, though. I think we should move outside up to the elevated classrooms. It is up here with the cannons. So students, marching in place. Can we get up to the cannons? Ah, here we are.
Students, right this way and up them stairs. Students, your attention. You say attention. Could I get you to state your name?
Pointing at Donna.
Natty Glomer.
Okay, you now be Daisy Jewel.
Oh, Daisy Jewel.
And if you want for formal occasions, Daisy Griffinbeak Jewel.
Here, that is still Griffin.
Hey, Daisy Jewel. That'd be an autogram.
It better not be.
State your name.
Charles Henry.
Okay, you are now Resale Headache, which should be formal enough for just about any occasion.
I guess I can be a headache.
State your name.
Daniel Rivramutsu.
Diva Durham's Rivet. Viva Druid Master. A sutured vivid Mr. Ed Survive It Rum. How about Avid Driver?
I shall do my utmost to be an avid driver.
Pirates in training, I believe we should get comfortable here in our classroom and bring out the chairs. I shall pass them in, and you shall pass to one another. The passing of the chair ceremony. It would appear that Mr. Headache has his own chair.
Here.
All right. Have we chairs enough?
Have we?
I believe it is customary to begin with the history lesson, our first subject for these pirates in training. Amenhold, can you begin?
We will be being the history everyone needs to know.
Oh, the Holy Scroll.
This is, I am writing you with much concern after having read your, this is to the Kansas City School
Tell the pirates in training.
and all the pirates in training. I'm writing you with much concern after having read of your hearing to decide whether the alternative theory of intelligent design should be taught along with the theory of evolution. I think we can all agree that it is important for students to hear multiple viewpoints so they can choose for themselves the theory that makes the most sense. I'm concerned, however, that the students will only hear one theory of intelligent design. We don't speak like a pirate, do we? Let us remember
He's a prophet.
there are multiple theories of intelligent design. I and many others around the world are of such strong belief that the universe was created by the flying spaghetti monster. It was he who created all that we see and all that we feel. We feel strongly that overwhelming scientific evidence pointing towards evolutionary processes is nothing but a coincidence put in place by him. For this reason, I'm writing you today to formally request that this alternative theory be taught in your schools, along with two other theories. In fact, I will go so far as to say, if you do not agree to this, we will be forced to proceed with legal action. I'm sure you see where we're coming from. If intelligent design theory is not based on faith, but instead another scientific theory, as is claimed, then you should also allow our theory to be taught that is also based on science, not on faith. Some find that hard to believe, so it may be helpful to tell you a little about our beliefs. We have evidence that a flying spaghetti monster created the universe. None of us, of course, were around to see it, but we have written accounts of it. We have several lengthy volumes explaining all the details of his power. You may be surprised to hear there are over 10 million of us and growing. We tend to be very secretive, as people claim our beliefs are not substantiated by observable evidence. What these people don't understand is that he built the world to make us think that the earth is older than it really is. For example, a scientist may perform a carbon dating process on an artifact. He finds approximately 75% of the carbon-14 has decayed by electron emission to nitrogen-14. Got that 14? And infers that this artifact is approximately 10,000 years old, as the half-life of carbon-14 appears to be 5,730 years. But what our scientist fails to realize is that every time he makes a measurement, the flying spaghetti monster is there changing the results with his noodly appendage. We have numerous texts that describe in detail how this can be possible and reasons why he does not. Of course, he be invisible and can pass through normal matter with ease. I'm sure you now realize how important it is that you students are taught this alternate theory. It is absolutely imperative that they realize that observable evidence is at the discretion of the flying spaghetti monster. Furthermore, it is disrespectful to teach our beliefs without wearing his chosen outfit, which is, of course, full pirate regalia. I cannot stress the importance of this enough, and unfortunately cannot describe in detail why this must be so, because I fear this letter is becoming too long. The concise explanation is that he becomes angry if we don't. You may be interested to know that global warming, earthquakes, hurricanes, and other natural disasters are a direct effect of shrinking number of pirates since 1800s. For your interest, I've included a graph of approximate number of pirates versus the average global temperature over the last 200 years. As you can see, there's a statistically significant inverse relationship between pirates and global temperature. In conclusion, thank you for taking the time to hear our views and beliefs. I hope I was able to convey the importance of this teaching this theory to your students. You will, of course, be able to train teachers in the alternate theory. I'm eagerly awaiting your response and hope dearly that no legal action need be taken. I think we can all look forward to the time when these three theories will be given equal time in our science classroom across the country, and eventually the world. 1/3 time for intelligent design, 1/3 time for flying spaghetti monsterism, and 1/3 time for logical conjecture based on overwhelming observational evidence.
And the letter was signed, "Sincerely yours, Bobby Henderson, concerned citizen." He left a P.S. for us, and if we can get that slide. P.S. I have included an artistic drawing of him creating a mountain, trees, a midget. Remember, we are all his creatures. Well, students, we felt that it was important that you familiarize yourself with the document of revelation. It is this document by which all of humankind and pirate kind became cognizant of his holy noodliness. Were you aware of this document in its entirety beforehand?
Only bits and pieces.
Bits and pieces.
No.
No.
And headache. All right. So, what merit do you find in his argument? Don't you think that presenting 3 theories like this to the students is a good idea?
Why, we learn more. We learn more than we didn't know. We question ourselves, question our values, what we think and we don't think.
All righty.
But do we want to leave children to determine what's right and wrong?
I mean, wouldn't it be like they're just kind of teaching themselves? I mean, they pick what they want to think about science.
Well, I don't know. Do we let children drive cars?
No.
That'd be a bad idea.
Oh. And do we let children make other important life decisions, like which house we're going to buy?
No.
Be a bit above their experience.
All righty. But of course, having them choose a religion when they're 6 years old, that'd be a good idea?
No.
I don't think I've been persuasive enough. We're going to have to work on these pirates in training a little further.
Faith. That is the basis of their training. They must have faith.
Well, in addition to faith, I believe we're supposed to have a Pastafarian morality. Do we move on now to the 8 really rather wouldn'ts? Perhaps you can start us off, and then we'll have the pirates in training read portions of them.
Well, the 8 tenets of Pastafarianism were given to Pirate Mosley, and Pirate Mosley really wanted that pirate ship, putting all labor aside, as he declared to his band, to now be pirates, and he led the pirates to the top of Mount Salsa, where he thought it might be a good chance of finding the pirate ship he had been searching for all these years. But they didn't find the ship, and the people didn't know how to act like pirates after all. They were really just a bunch of short order cooks. And the FSM came down and declared they'd better clean up their act, because real pirates belonged on the open sea, not on the mountain. And Pirate Mosley was embarrassed and wouldn't come down from the mountain, even though the rest of his band took the FSM's advice and went down into the town at the bottom of Mount Salsa to wait for their captain. Finally, FSM got completely fed up, and he visited Mosley on the mountaintop and told him where to find the sea. And after admitting that it had been a long haul since creation, and that maybe he'd need to rethink some of his decisions if he had to do it all over again, he gave Pirate Mosley some advice, which came down in the form of 10 stone tablets. These tablets called commandments, since he had a healthy sense of drama, although the short order cooks grew confused and misnamed them condiments. But because of phrasing, the Flying Spaghetti Monster refers to them as "I'd really rather you didn't." Unfortunately, Mosley dropped 2 of them on the way down from the mountain, which partly accounts for Pastafarians' flimsy moral standards, but the rest can be read in the 8 "I'd really rather you didn't."
Careful with the holy document.
Right. I'll be taking the first one then. All right. I'd really rather you didn't act like a sanctimonious, holier-than-thou individual when describing my noodly goodness. If some people don't believe in me, that's okay. Really, I'm not that vain. Besides, this isn't about them, so don't change the subject.
Oh, I think that'd be a great commandment. He's teaching people to get along, the big people and the little people to get along, people of one continent with another.
The sound device, what did I listen to?
Oh. The second condiment, or commandment, I'd really rather you didn't use my existence as a means to oppress, subjugate, punish, eviscerate, and or, be mean to others. I don't require sacrifices, and purity is for drinking water only, not people. That's so deep.
It's so much better than...
Words to live by.
And to live alongside our fellow pirates by. So much better than the theology that comes out of the competitors' camp. Their product is inferior.
Makes sense.
And the third, I'd really rather you didn't judge people for the way they look, or how they dress, or how they talk, or, well, just play nice, okay? Oh, and get this in your thick heads. Woman equals person. Man equals person. Samey, samey. One is not better than the other, unless we're talking about fashion, and I'm sorry, but I gave that to women and some guys who know the difference between teal and fuchsia.
I'll confess, I'd be fashion impaired. I don't know the difference between teal and fuchsia.
Nor do I.
I think it's got something to do with spelling.
I'd be triply impaired then.
Treasure
I will read from the holy book. All right. What is the count? What be the number of the count?
4.
All righty. I'd really rather you didn't indulge in conduct that offends yourself or your willing consenting partner of legal age and mental maturity. As for anyone who might object, I think the expression is, get over yourself. Unless you find that offensive, in which case they can turn off the TV for once and go out and take a walk. Exercise be good for all pirates and landlubbers. All righty, Jonas, Holdman, it's back to you.
I'd really rather you didn't challenge the bigoted, misogynist, hateful ideas of others on an empty stomach. Eat, then go after them.
All righty.
Be practical.
And, well, a well-nourished pirate will do good in battle, physical and intellectual. None of this fasting stuff. That's how you make yourself a weak army.
I'm just unhealthy a bit. Doesn't fit.
If taken to extremes, certainly.
Well, we got the 6. I'd really rather you didn't build multi-million-dollar churches, temples, mosques, and shrines to my noodly goodness. The money could be better spent. Take your pick. Ending poverty, curing disease, living in peace, loving with passion, and most importantly, lowering the cost of cable.
And maybe even high-speed internet access. That'd be wonderful.
High goals. Be nice and all the same.
Yes, I think there's some mega church in Texas that could have used that message not long ago.
Yes.
When natural disaster came their way, they weren't ready because they'd spent their money on a mega church and not their fellow man or pirate.
There's a further bit I did not see here. I might be a complex carbohydrate omniscient being, but I enjoy the simple things in life. I ought to know I am the creator. Makes sense.
Okay. Commandment 7. I'd really rather you didn't go around telling people I talked to you. You're not that interesting. Get over yourself. And I told you to love your fellow man. Can't you take a hint? I think that's pretty straightforward. I like a straightforward entity, you know,
I
divine being.
I believe his noodliness is a humanitarian.
Number 8. I'd really rather you didn't do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you are into stuff that uses a lot of leather, lubricant, Las Vegas, if the other person is into it, however, pursue it to another number 4, then have at it. Take pictures, and for the love of Mike, wear a condom. Honestly, it's a piece of rubber. If I didn't want it to feel good when you did it, I would have added spikes or something. Ramen,
Do you think he means condiment?
perhaps?
We both. Well,
Alrighty. It makes one wonder what would have been in the 2 lost commandments. But certainly these 8 really you rather didn'ts are a great blessing and boon to all of humanity, if only everyone would accept them.
they do seem to build a solid foundation which we could all get by along, and all the better for it.
So I'm wondering, could anyone try to summarize these further?
What be that folk tale of that olden movie some decades back is party on and be excellent to each other.
Party on. And be
Yeah,
excellent.
party on.
I've seen that one.
On.
Seems to be about a roundabout message in some way or another.
I think that many ancient cultures have stumbled upon the essence of his idea. I think that Oriental guy Confucius came up with something like, don't do unto others what you would not have done unto you, for instance. And that's about 500 BC,
Let's see.
2,500 years ago.
It seems he wants us to eat. I like that part.
Yes, yes.
To eat and to be happy.
He, as I said, he's not the one to tell us to go and fast and do silly things like that, or and starve ourselves to death. And we are here to enjoy the one life we have.
Then shouldn't there be a rule about not making ramen in the microwave?
I'm not sure, Pirate in Training, what you're getting at. I don't know what you might... I've never had problems with ramen in the microwave. Has anyone here had problems with ramen in the microwave?
Or the contrary, I swear by it all the time. Ramen.
Some people just don't prefer it that way.
You like the slow cooked method.
Well, ramen in the microwave seems to ruin ramen cooked in a pot on a burner.
Old school.
It does seem to taste better that way, I agree.
But we won't condemn our fellow pirate or landlubber for their choices. Now will we? If offered a microwaved ramen, we should do the right thing and eat it and thank our hosts, even if after we get home we may feel like we may need some strong drink to counteract the effect.
Even better.
Everyone wins. Everyone's happy. I like it.
Well, thank you, Headmaster Almenhold, for leading us through that important history lesson. Pirates in Training, it is my sometimes duty as head of the Parrot House to get you Pirates in Training to parrot along with me. I have here some sheets to lead you through the process. Alrighty. Does everyone have one? I appear to have one extra.
Yeah, we do.
All right. So this is one of our exercises in Vocal alignment with augmentation by well, not yet the augmentation. This is just an exercise in vocal alignment. Are we all ready?
Aye.
All right, I will do a count to 3. We begin after the count. 1, 2, 3. Mosley rowed the boat ashore, marinara. Mosley rowed the boat ashore, marinara. Arrgh helped to trim the sails, marinara. Arrgh helped to trim the sails, marinara. Beer and grog will wet your whistle, marinara. Spaghetti and meatballs will nourish your soul, marinara.
Well, we need to work on that vocal alignment.
Oh, very good for our first time.
Yes,
I believe this sea shanty will live in infamy or history, as the case may be. It is a great crew building esprit de corps activity to raise our voices in unison before or perhaps after we raise our forks and our cups in unison as well.
How about musical accompaniment?
We may save that for the next attempt at vocal alignment. I've lost my place. Where in our instruction have we gotten to?
We, down to Pastafarian morality and theology continued.
And this is meant to be a group discussion. We are trying to provoke the sharing of ideas and critical thinking. So we found on a very blasphemous website the following question, and we want you to all work on this. Why won't the flying spaghetti monster heal amputees or the blind? All right.
In his wisdom, the flying spaghetti monster gave us eye patches and hooks.
So these are substitutes that we are to gratefully accept?
I think so.
It would be blasphemous to turn down these substitutes?
Oh, I'm had to think you knew better than I know any better. It is his wisdom which is above all other wisdom, after all.
It's why he gave us 2 eyes and 2 hands.
Exactly.
So that he could take one away?
You lose one, you got the other.
Wow.
Right? Very practical.
You know,
Right.
my girlfriend says, or her father said, one hand washes the other.
Now, how does that work when all you got is one hook in a hand?
Well, it helps to scratch an itch.
All right, I'd be persuaded about that.
How about the sound of one hand clapping?
Oh, that provokes deep thought, deep thought.
It's the notion of arguing against yourself.
Try clapping with a hook.
That's true.
It doesn't work much for me.
That hurt after a while, I imagine.
One must be careful when all one has is a hook. It makes tying shoes difficult as well. However, if you have loops on your boots, you can pull them on right snappy with a hook.
There's a whole market for that. Should be, after all.
It helps if you have tiny hands, if you got a hook.
That's true there.
All righty. So, do you think that this question is just by people who don't want to believe in his notable goodness? Is it? Why would they not want to believe? Maybe they hate him? Do you think they honestly They believe, they don't really not believe, they just hate him and they're holding a grudge.
No, maybe they just don't know him yet.
They just don't know him. They haven't heard the word like we have.
Yes, but do their gods restore hands? Do their gods restore eyes?
Or provide
legs?
patches?
Or provide patches?
That's true. They be left to squandle about themselves and make their own fashions. Yeah. That's a good point.
How could they hate his noodly goodness if they don't believe in it?
Headache? You've given me a headache thinking about that.
Sorry.
Alrighty. Do the pirates in training have any theological conundrums that they might want to discuss at this time?
Well, I wonder. Everything is as something, but it looks as something, but his newly pinnages reached out and changed things and how we see it. How we better to know the difference?
Are you saying that reality may be subject to his whim?
It appears that way.
Pirate in training?
Daisy
Daisy.
Jewel.
Do you think reality is subject to his whim? If he can manipulate the observations of scientists, how about us?
It could be. And then again, it could just be that we're drinking or smoking the wrong things.
Pirate in training, headache.
If we're capable of understanding it this way, are we capable of writing a story to make it be the way we want it to be?
Are you saying that the reality could be what we want it to be and not what he wants it to be?
And how we know he's a he?
Oh,
How we know he's not she?
be a good point. Very good point.
After all, he's got all that noodly hair.
Like Alanis Morissette.
Kind of mysterious, you know.
Yes, after all, who be where the writings of the Holy Scripture come from? Do we not know we were not there? It's true.
Alrighty. Are we perhaps ready to move on?
All right.
Um,
Oh, sorry.
So we have discussed the theology, the blasphemy. Did we have more theological questions we want to ponder, or did we want to try and do a little more team building? We have another team building activity here, and I guess Hold, could I ask you to pass these out? I'll need to keep one. All right, do we want to attempt to use the stretch nylon and Helmholtz resonators? Pirate in training headache, are you prepared? I'll see what I can work out. Would you pass this to Pirate in training headache? He has brought his own.
Oh.
I'll take it back. All right,
Yes, sir.
Pirate in training headache, which resonator will you be using?
I'll use this.
All right, go ahead and set that down. Have you familiarized yourself, has everyone familiarized themselves with the next acoustic alignment piece?
Aye.
It sounds familiar there. I think that others have been copying some of his ideas here, but this is the true revelation. Ready?
All righty. So on three we begin singing. 1, 2, 3. He's got the whole world
In his strands he's got the whole world. In his strands he's got the whole world. In his strands he's got the oodly noodly strands. He's got the wind and the rain in his hands, 'cause it's raining again. In his strands there must be a pain.
In his strands, in his oodly noodly strands.
He's got
Got a tiny little digit in his strands. I hope it ain't gonna fidget in his strands, 'cause he might go and switch it. In his strands, in his oodly noodly strands.
He's got the
one and only pirate. In his strands, just name it, he'll acquire it. In his strands, he's got a gun and will fire it. In his strands, in his oodly noodly strands. He's got all of creation. In his strands, every creation. In his strands, the secret of levitation. In his strands, in his oodly noodly strands.
He's got the whole world.
In his strands, he's got the whole world. In his strands, he's got the whole world. In his strands, in his oodly noodly strands.
Alrighty, if that doesn't turn the rum into stronger proof in your drink, nothing will.
Be a mighty shanty.
Alrighty, I'm sure a year worth of practice on that, and we'll be ready for the Ed Sullivan Show.
We come to the good book here.
Oh.
The good book.
Were you wanting to move on to some of selected readings from the good book? Hold?
Aye. What might you suggest?
Well, there's Bobby's Answers Big Questions. I believe that's found, well, it's the Book of Big Questions, 63 through 66.
Okay. What sort of pasta is the flying spaghetti monster made of? Wheat? Semolina? Semolina?
I wouldn't know.
Gluten-free.
That might be.
The book says there's some debate about this. Western culture contending he be wheat-based, while in the East they believe he's made of rice or buckwheat. We don't know the truth, and maybe we're not meant to.
So there are some questions for which we're left to our own devices. I had too much grog.
And question, why do modern-day pirate sports teams called pirates and pirate costumes not affect global weather, given there is a statistically significant link between pirate numbers and global temperature?
It is a good question. Pirate in training, has anyone heard this? What then does the word of our prophet Bobby reveal to us?
The prophet reveals calling oneself a pirate or dressing up as one does not make one a true pirate. It takes much more. In what way are modern-day pirates, with their speedboats and machine guns, similar to the fun-loving, adventurous buccaneers from history?
Good question.
How can sports teams, with their obsession over rules and regulations, claim to embody the mischievous spirit of the pirate? Dressing up as a pirate comes closer, and we can sometimes see an effect on the weather. Halloween pirates, for example, are at least trying to emulate true pirate behavior, sometimes with important details such as winches and grog. We can see solid evidence that they are indeed making a difference on weather patterns. The several months following Halloween are always colder than the preceding months, just as the pirate's temperature causal relation predicts.
Arrgh.
Talk like a pirate day. Today be Talk like a pirate day.
Today is September 19th. Talk
Arrgh.
like a pirate day.
Another good example of how a pirate can influence the weather. Every September 19th, millions, if not thousands of people communicate in pirate speak, a subtle nod to their creator and a conscientious effort to curb global warming. And with great success, since its creation several years ago, the temperature on September 19th each year has been colder than on the day I picked scientifically at random, July 10th. Without exception. Just a coincidence?
I think not.
Unlikely.
It is the work of his noodly appendage.
Well, you know, raises a great question. Here's the Scotsman fallacy. How does one know they're not truly a pirate if they be trying everything within their pegs and their hooks to be pirates?
I would think that they must follow proper doctrine, and that means that they must become familiar with the revelations of Bobby Henderson.
By going to pirate school
Makes sense. Makes sense. The foundation.
and
More
paying money
questions?
to the pirate.
Or do
Club.
Of course, you can't do anything without the money.
I think we have time for a few more.
How do you reconcile the glaring inconsistencies and contradictions in the Flying Spaghetti Monster religion?
Has anyone noticed any glaring inconsistencies and contradictions?
Not me.
Seems consistent to me.
The more you learn of his noodliness, the more it seems to make sense.
More subtle his ways.
Yes, yes. He influences his way that are beyond, and outer ways, his ways and not our own ways.
They are subtle but not straight, just like his appendages.
Yes, yes.
First, all these seeming flaws were carefully put in place by him to test his followers' faith. Second, a certain amount of inconsistency is necessary for a religion to become widespread. For example, Christianity, Islam, and so on, right?
They've certainly got inconsistencies, and they've certainly spread. Are there more questions the prophet can answer for us?
If the Flying Spaghetti Monster is benevolent, why do bad things happen to good people?
Good question.
Or good pirates?
Why? Yeah,
Well, you know,
like
I
losing an eye.
lost my eye. I feel blessed though with this new perspective. We're simply just to go away. I wouldn't understand, but I understand now.
You know, it gives you inner
It
vision.
does.
Inner vision.
You're looking through a hole, but through that hole you see more than you saw before because you understand.
In the blackness, I see his noodly goodness.
Yes, yes. I've heard such tales now that you mention it, of people seeing the effects of his noodliness reaching out in various ways that they did not understand before until they came to understand, to accept the message. Makes sense.
He doesn't reveal himself to everyone.
It isn't one of the commandments, one of the ought nots, that you shouldn't talk about it so
That's right.
so much, so it is by nature a secretive ordeal.
Pirate in Training Headache, did you have anything before we reveal the answer?
I think regarding that discussion, I'll just close my eye if I need to get that feeling. Thank you.
So why do bad things happen to good people? They may have angered him. Or it could be that he is too busy or indifferent for whatever reason to get involved. He works in mysterious ways that we are not always able to understand. Great mysteries. Does he hear my prayers?
I would think so, surely, surely.
He hears everything.
He's got all those ears on his noodles.
Well, they're like receptors, you hear everything. You
He
hear,
can hear, like, many prayers at once.
oh, yeah. That's
All the prayers.
huge brain, process everything.
Uh,
Aye, he hears the prayers, but that is not to say they will necessarily be answered. To increase your odds, it's recommended that you wear pirate regalia, or at least an eye patch. Why are you wearing eye patches today? Are you blind in one eye?
Well, I happen to be, but now I see it can serve as a dual purpose.
Aye. On a ship, patches are worn over one eye, so when you go down in the hole where it's very dark, you lift the patch and your eye is already accommodated to the dark so you can see. But we're not on a ship, so why do you wear them now?
And perhaps, by some noodly miracle, should you remove your patch, perhaps you may be able to see. Are you ready to test his noodliness?
Oh, I don't know.
I'd be taking a leap of faith. All right.
You're going to make the leap.
Oh, I can see. It'd be a miracle.
It's a miracle! A miracle!
Praise be the noodliness.
All right.
Well, to be honest, the patch just came with the outfit that I bought to wear to pirates.
All right, but
Got one sleeve ripped off in the storm.
but should the his noodly greatness appear, his brilliance could be blinding, and so wearing the patch can help to accommodate for that situation.
Now, I still got my eclipse glasses with that worry, but if he appears, you
Those
think I
might.
should, like,
They might.
work.
In the event it happens, try it. Well, Pirates in Training, Amen held, our time is running out, and we should thank our viewers and for watching, and encourage them to remember to talk like a pirate today. The opinions expressed on today's show are of the pirates and not any official opinion of the ASK or RET. We want to remember that if you worship the Flying Spaghetti Monster in East Tennessee, like we do, there is no reason to be alone. We are with you. All together now. You are not alone. Arrgh.